From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday, January 31st. I did not stutter. I'm just super pumped. It's Monday morning. It's the last day of January. We're a month into this year, and it has not been boring or disappointing at all. I hope everyone is staying warm up in the Northeast. You guys got dumped on in snow, so I hope everyone is safe. Your families are safe. You're all doing okay. I know a lot of people are without electricity, so I know we've got Percio tuning in from New York, so I'm glad you're here, man, and I hope everyone is doing well and safe. Good morning to Brent, Eddie, Scott, and Jonathan. Thank you all for being here. We're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. So please make sure to subscribe. You can find us on your favorite podcast listening platform. If you missed the last Friday was epic. One, I had an awesome conversation with John Giulio over at SATA. Said, can we trust zero trust? Great podcast. Go listen to it. Worth 30 minutes. We really go into the weeds on what is zero trust when it comes to identity access management, so much more. And then later, because Friday was also International Privacy Day, I had Licio Di Pala from KnowBe4 on, and we're talking about what does privacy mean, what's this year going to look like for privacy and so forth, and where are we getting wrong with privacy. Really, really cool stuff. So make sure you tune into those as well. David B., good morning to you. Thank you all for being here. Before we get started on today's show, because it's a packed one, let's have a cup of coffee because it is Monday morning after all. I've got my double espresso. What are you drinking this morning? Put it in the comments. So let me know. Send me a personal DM. I'm in the market for trying out new espressos. So I've been shopping around. I'm kind of getting my own mix going on. Some really cool stuff. But anyways, coffee cup cheers, folks. All right, let's get into today's program because it is dead loaded. So Deadbolt ransomware hits more than 3,600 QNAP NAS devices. We talked about this on Thursday. So if you watched the Thursday show, I said, hey, here's an alert. Here's what's going on. Well, now this thing is a full-fledged nightmare. Not only has it hit 3,600 different QNAP devices, over the weekend, many of them are saying that there's about a lot that have not been patched. A lot of them are suffering from the ransomware attack. There's a firmware update, but people are struggling to get the firmware update done. And it just shows you the challenge and difficulty of really patching something once a live attack is going on. Patching is not as simple as updating your iPhone. I know that's a common kind of feel for so many people. I can patch my iPhone. No reason why patching my servers or my devices could be that much more complex. But it is, especially if the patch does require you to take the device online. And if you're unsure what is the end result of that specific patch, we're seeing that with QNAP. I was actually having a conversation yesterday with someone who is one of the major distributors of these devices. And they were telling me, like, we've been working day in and day out over the last 3-4 days to get these devices patched. It's just not easy, folks. It's really not easy. So, they're trying to force install, which is taking things offline. It's a bunch of things going on with this one. Just shows you that piece. If you've got a QNAP device, please make sure you get it patched and updated. We'll move to our next story. Russian APT29 used a stealthy malware that went undetected for years. This is a Bleeping Computer exclusive, by the way, folks. So hackers associated with the Russian Federation Foreign Intelligence Services, also known as SVR, continued their incursion on networks of multiple organizations after the SolarWinds supply chain compromise using two recently discovered sophisticated threats. The malicious implants are a variant of the GoldMax backdoor for Linux systems and a completely new malware family that CrowdStrike now tracks as Trailblazer. Both threats have been used in stellar particle campaigns since at least the middle of 2019, but were identified only 2 years later during an IR response. Stellar particle attacks have been attributed to APT29. They're also known as Cozy Bear. That's the only name we're going to give them, all right? In a report shared exclusively with Bleeping Computer, CrowdStrike described in detail the latest tactics, techniques, and procedures observed in attacks by the Cozy Bear state-sponsored attackers. They're doing credential hoppings. They're hijacking Office 365 service principal and application. They're bypassing MFA by stealing browser cookies, and they're stealing credentials using a get AD REPL account. Credential hopping was the first stage of the attack. It allows the threat actor to log in Office 365 from an internal service that the hackers reach through a compromised public-facing system. CrowdStrike says that this technique is hard to spot in environments with little visibility into identity usage, since hackers could use more than one domain admin account. Bypassing MFA to access cloud resources by stealing browser cookies has been used since before 2020. CrowdStrike says that APT29 kept a low profile after decrypting the authentication cookies, likely offline by using the cookie editor extension for Chrome to replay them. Then they deleted the extensions afterwards. Why you should not be using Chrome. During their incident response work on APT29 stellar particle attacks, CrowdStrike's researcher used user access logging, the UAL database, to identify earlier malicious account usage, which led to the finding of GoldMax for Linux and the Trailblazer malware. Trailblazer is a completely new malware family, while GoldMax for Linux backdoor is almost identical in functionality and implementation to the previously identified Windows variant. So that's what they've been doing for quite some time. They're doing recon and moving into Office 365. From there, they're spreading across all of your environments, putting in malware and backdoors, and they're also maintaining persistence while they're at it. There's a few ways to find out those TTPs. The link is in the show notes to the CrowdStrike report with some ways that you can deflect this specific piece of this specific threat to your organization. Also, Zerodium looks to buy 0 days in Outlook and Thunderbird email clients. The US-based exploit broker Zerodium announced plans today to pay $200,000 to $400,000 for 0-day exploits in Mozilla Thunderbirds and Microsoft Outlook, two of the most popular and widely used desktop email clients. The company, which buys exploits from security researchers and sells them to government and law enforcement agencies, announced its intention earlier today via a message posted on its Twitter account. So something to keep an eye out for. While the company operates as a somewhat rather controversial sector of cybersecurity landscape, Zerodium exploits have yet to be found in attacks against activists, journalists, or politicians, which kind of puts them in a different group than NSO, Candurio, or Gamma Group. Interesting. I gotta say, I've been watching this NSO thing for a while. I was defending them for a really long time, and I still do, because I think that what NSO does is they sell an offensive weapon to governments. If you don't like how the government's using it to target other politicians, journalists, or activists, talk to the government, not the company, because like NSO Group, this is like taking down these groups. If you think it's going to stop anything, it's just absolutely ridiculous. They're just going to pop back up under a different name with the same software and sell it all over again. And they'll go to a jurisdiction that lets them do it if their local jurisdiction won't. You're not really putting them out of business. You're just making them go further into hiding. You're better off regulating and having them be in front of you, and then holding the governments that abuse these types of technologies accountable through diplomacy than you are doing what you're doing at this point. A SureMDM vulnerability is exposing companies to different supply chain attacks. This is our fourth story today. So 42 Gears, which was founded in 2009, it's based in Bangalore, India. It provides mobile device management and productivity products for organizations with a large mobile workforce. Its website lists a range of major customers, including Deloitte, Saab, Lufthansa, Tesco, Thales, Intel, and many others. That's why I don't go with a vendor that has logos on their website. Like, that is, if I go to your website and you've got a bunch of logos, we're probably not going to do business. I may take the call. I may take the demo. Probably not doing business. Researchers at Immersive Labs discovered and disclosed the first vulnerability to 42 Gears on July 6th. There's a series of additional vulnerability disclosures together with the failed private patches, including a new vulnerability introduced by one of the private patches, meant that effective public patches were not released until November and January of this year, respectively. On January 23rd, 42 Gears informed Immersives that they were continuing to apply additional mitigation beyond those reported by the researchers. By this time, Immersive felt that they have done everything necessary to ensure their own principles of responsible disclosure and that they could publish the findings. The discovered vulnerabilities include some affecting the 42 Gear Web Council and others affecting their Linux agent. The vulnerabilities that are the most concerning and chaining them could allow an attacker to disable security tools and install malware onto every Linux, macOS, or Android device with the SureMDM installed. There's a bunch of vulnerabilities and workarounds for this, folks. You may want to make sure, if you are a customer that you're addressing these right away. And I want to get to our final story of the day. It's not cyber related per se. It's cyber related, but it's not like attacking our organization, but it sure as hell impacts our employees, our staff members. And if you want to build a security culture in your organization, if you're trying to deliver something greater, if you want people to pay attention to your trainings, then we ought to start addressing this as leaders. $770 million were lost from social media fraud surge. This is according to the FTC. In 2021, these are 95,000 U.S. consumers that reported a loss of nearly $770 million after getting scammed on social media platform. It's a massive 18-fold increase since the 2017 report and more than double compared to 2020. More than 1 in 4 people who reported losing money in fraud said it started on social media with an ad, a post, or a message. The data suggested that social media was far more profitable for scammers than any other method of reaching people. It's a low-cost way to reach billions, and the social media platforms do nothing. The most profitable scam were bogus investment opportunities, with more than half of the reports in 2021 mentioning money and cryptocurrency lost to promises of huge returns. Romance scams were the second most profitable fraud on social media. However, the most significant number of scams linked to social media were sent by people who lost money to online shopping scams, who were marketed products who were then not delivered. So how to avoid getting scammed? One, if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. Limit who can see your posts and information on social media. All of them collect, go into your privacy settings, turn everything off. Don't let them track anything. Check if you opt out of targeted advertising. Some platforms let you do that. And if you get a message from a friend about an opportunity or an urgent need for money, let them know their account has been hacked as well. And if someone appears on social media and rushes you to start a friendship or romance, slow down and think about it. But we should really be talking about this in our organizations with our employees. It affects 1 out of 4 people. So just keep that in mind. 95,000 people reported it, meaning there's another at least 200,000 people that did not, because they're embarrassed, because it didn't mean anything to them, right? Because they don't want people to know. And so that number is probably double or triple. We need to start talking about with our staff members about what's going on in the realm of social media. If we don't do that, and then we go, you should really pay attention to how we secure our company, but then they're losing money on the back end. They're hard-earned, their paychecks, which makes them more vulnerable then to being approached, to being poached, to being LinkedIn recruited by someone thinking they're about to get a job, but really at the end of the day, they're just giving out valuable intel of the company. If you don't think that matters, I apologize, but I think you're missing the point of what we do as security professionals. This is something that we should be talking about every single day in our organizations to our employees. We should be reinforcing this. We should be offering something within the help desk or the SOC to look at this. One role, but if you are able to support your team members, it's unbelievable the kind of feedback you'll get and the kind of win you'll get for your security program. That's it for us here today, folks. We'll be back again tomorrow at 9 a.m. with a lot more on the cybersecurity world and what's going on from vulnerabilities, impacts, and again, scams, folks. They don't impact us directly, but they impact our employees. And if we don't care what goes on to people who work with us, then by all means, why would they care about the security of the organization? That's it for us here again. See you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Until then, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.